This is a job for Voices from Krypton.
Where it came from and how it sort of evolved from your original conception to becoming a series that, in production.
It was a relatively quick process, which was exciting for me. As you may remember, I'm relatively with all of this. I used to do something very, very different. Mm-hmm. I was a consultant for the World Bank, and that was sort of the genesis of the idea, though. I was in the Arctic Circle years ago. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's beautiful. Well, it's a hauntingly beautiful place. Okay. I think it's the closest to being on the moon you can be on Earth. Okay. And I thought someone should do a TV show here about this place. And then it all sort of tumbled from there. I knew I wanted to do a show about viruses. I think that they're scary in a way that few things are, because they're everywhere all the time. Mm. And I knew I wanted to do a show, and I talked about some of this during the presentation, but I knew I wanted to do a show that unraveled very, very quickly in a sort of rapid fashion, and that's where the one episode per day thing sort of stemmed from. Right. And when we put those together, I came up with an idea of a virus outbreak in the Arctic Circle, and it sort of stemmed from there. So what happened was I keep saying we, but I wrote a pilot that I was quite proud of, and we sent it over to Sony, where I started working with Linda Oakes. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she did Contact, and she's considered one of the best science developers in the business. Okay. And we got really, really excited about it. And once we had it in a good place, they said, if you could send this to anyone and work with anyone, who would you choose? And I threw out Ron Moore's name, sort of the way a kid says Santa Claus. And they said this. They did, because he's really one of my heroes, and I think he's one of the best in the business of what we do. Right. If not the best in the science fiction space. And he got excited and came on board, and we pitched it to Syfy, and then they were excited to do it too. So that's what brought us here.
But now with Ron, I mean, obviously you had a take on it. When you went to him, I'm kind of trying to get a feel. Like, I interviewed Ron. I had a few minutes with him. I've known him since, like, his Star Trek days. But I had a few minutes with him at New York Comic Con, so I could talk to him about the show a little bit. But because I know he's busy doing Outlander and stuff, what is his contribution? What were the things that you feel he brought to what you brought to him? What do you think he added to it?
Well, I mean, he's been integral at every stage of the process, but here's what I think he did masterfully. We had the pilot, but what Ron did was introduce an overall mythology that not only stemmed over the first 13 episodes, but gave us a backbone for the entire series. Mm-hmm. So I always had an idea of the kind of story I wanted to tell in the first season, but I think what Ron does, sort of in a way that few others do, is he took something that was good and made it great. And I think the way he did that largely was through the back story and the deeper mythology. And you see his fingerprints all over that. But even on a day-to-day, episode-by-episode level, he's involved in all kinds of ways. He edited the rough cut that you saw and did some really clever things that didn't occur to me, quite frankly. And even in terms of the character pairings, he was really instrumental in creating this triangle between our lead, Alan Farragut, Walker, and Alan Farragut's brother. We sort of re-engineered that under him, and that was